If we're gonna just start talking anyway. Yeah, I hadn't watched it in like a really long time, and I was expecting to watch it and go, look at this stupid. And I watched it, and I was like, there really wasn't. I'm sitting here, I got my pen, and I'm like, I'm gonna take some funny notes. I'm gonna rip into this show. And I was like, well, there's what? Well, no. And there really wasn't, because it's such a dark contrast to, not I should say dark contrast, such a contrast to like He-Man, where you got all these goofy characters and funny things and bright colors and stuff. And I'm watching Thundarr, I'm like, I can make fun of. Okay, I can make fun of that. Okay, I've got a handful of stuff here, but like for the most part, it was pretty solid.
I know, right? Okay, so how should we start this whole thing? Just intro ourselves?
Well, yeah, I would say, welcome everybody who's watching, and we are going to be talking about the beefiest of beef Saturday morning. I don't know. I thought maybe Saturday Morning Beefcast instead of podcast sounded kind of nice.
Beefcast is
Beefcast. I was like Beefcast.
Saturday Morning Beefcast.
Yeah, and we just wanted to talk about all the great '80s cartoons that were just the beefiest and manliest of beefcake shows.
It's not only the 80s, but from the 60s, 70s, there was a tradition of hyper beef cartoons.
Oh, yeah, there's some older ones, too.
Like Herculoids was all beef.
Yeah. That was even the rhinoceros thing, that was a beefy character in itself.
There was
he was shooting his beef. I'm shooting my beef everywhere.
There's some very clear masculine symbols happening there.
They were trying to combine, because we were coming off of the whole cowboy, like manly cowboy aspect, and then we went from literal cowboy frontier to we're in space. And so now we had all this access to new technology and new things that we never saw before. So they were combining basically all this primitive stuff with all this new technology, and we got all these weird sci-fi cartoons coming out of nowhere, which was really kind of cool. But on the same note, it was really weird.
And that is, and I'm not judging anything that came after Thundarr. They're to me, Thundarr is where there was a split, and you can see the split between Thundarr and He-Man. And I'm not judging He-Man. Right. What I'm saying is you can see a clear split in mentality there.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Was there any PSA, public service announcements there? No. Was there any protect the children stuff in there? No. It was kind of a badass action show in 1981 and 82, if I remember correctly.
Actually, the first one was 1980.
80 and 80.
And so we were coming off of from the 70s, from that whole kind of fun, rugged. Kids were still not. There was no seatbelt laws. People were still smoking publicly in restaurants. There was no we don't care, or there was we don't care. People are going to have fun.
Sure.
We're going to just put cartoons out there for kids to watch and let them have fun. There was no pearl clutching. There was no save the children things at that moment. Thank goodness. But all that stuff did start coming in around, probably, I want to say around the 2000, not 2000. Wow. Wake up here. All right. From around like the 82, 83, because that's a lot of stuff started coming in. And trying to make sure that we are going to be safe, because it was around that time when a lot of the satanic panic stuff started rolling really hardcore. So it was really at that moment they started doing the whole, we have to watch out for the kids. We have to make sure kids are okay.
Kids are fine.
Don't let kids go in refrigerator boxes. That episode of Punky Brewster.
It's a movie poster.
Movie?
They were shows, moving pictures on a big white wall.
And I wanted to, of course, introduce everybody. So if you guys want to go ahead and we'll do a round here and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hi, my name is Laschita Whalen. Call me Sheeta. That's what I'm probably going to be. People forget the little L-A for some reason. So, hi. Love cartoons. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator. And here I am on an early morning. So I'll try and be as peppy as I can for an early Sunday morning.
I love the Golden Girls t-shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
I know I saw that and I was kind of going like, oh, that's very good.
It was either between this one or my other one that says, was it Rose in the Streets? No, it was Dorothy in the Streets, Blanche in the Sheets.
I think I've seen that one online. That's pretty good too.
Yeah. Anywho, my name is Aric Whalen.
And next to you?
and next to me is my suspenders. No,
I do love the rainbow suspenders. I do.
Together we are Super Secret Project X. We are still working on getting product out because full-time jobs and all that. But cartoonist, illustrator, writer, blah, blah, blah. Love me the cartoons, which is why I was wanting to do this so bad.
Yeah. We had so much fun. I had so much fun with you guys recording the Retro Popcast episode where we talked about the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special, that this kind of blossomed from that. Man, we should do more of that. And
that was good.
You proposed we should do just a separate show talking about all those great beefcake shows, cartoons from the 80s and early 70s and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, we got to do that. And of course, Thundarr was kind of like the natural first. You don't want to go straight to He-Man. You kind of want to like work into that. So we'll just dip our toes in some Thundarr.
Well, my thought was very simple. Firstly, and I'm a little biased, Thundarr is one of my favorite old school cartoons. But Thundarr is also one, for example, I brought up that we were going to do this to my boss. And he was like, what show were you doing? And I'm like, and this, by the way, happened with a kid when I was doing our sketch live stream.
Yeah.
Both of which were like, what's Thundarr? They know what He-Man is. They know what He-Man is. Everyone's heard of G.I. Joe.
How old is your boss?
Space Ghost, even if they're just remembering the talk show version and not original Ghost. Yeah. But when you say Thundarr, most people are like, what? And I'm like, no. Thundarr was amazing. We can't forget Thundarr.
This is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable. You're right.
And his boss is like, what, just a few years older than us?
He's less than 10 years older than us. I'm not sure. I don't ask people's ages. He's older than us, but
he's around our age somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't even ask that question, just because of the fact that like one of my supervisors, she's just a couple years younger than me, gets none of my movie references because she didn't grow up watching. I guess they didn't have a TV for the longest time. Like, wow, gets none of my movie references, and I'm like, you should know this, and she's like, so.
Well, the funny thing is my boss was like, yeah, no, I remember Masters of the Universe, blah blah blah. I had fun with that, but he's like, I have no idea what Thundarr is. And I was like, oh, okay, this I think this needs to happen because they just released the Blu-ray of this, which is glorious. The colors are so like, freaky bright,
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because
good.
I didn't even know they had released the Blu-ray. I actually found out by accident because one of the threads I was following when I was on Twitter, there's a bunch of artists that we were all talking about old cartoons that we loved and stuff that we grew up with. And one guy who was probably around, he's a bit older than us, but still loves cartoons and stuff. He just out of nowhere just blared out what's one of Thundarr's lines? I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Lords of Light.
Yeah, that was actually he was like
Demon Dogs.
He just blurted out Lords of Light, and I'm just like, dude. I was like, reply back, love me some freaking Thundarr. And he's just like, put out the Blu-ray. I'm like, wait, are you kidding? And so he like puts up a picture of him holding the Blu-ray. And I'm like, freaking sold. Went on to Amazon like literally 5 minutes later and ordered it.
Where's my keyboard? Oh, I better not clack on my keyboard. But yeah, and I think one of the reasons why everybody remembers He-Man and maybe not Thundarr as much is because He-Man was selling toys.
Yeah, it was huge.
Thundarr had no toys.
No,
I looked that up. They had a board game.
They had a few toys.
In 1982, there was a board game. In 2003, they released a set of the three main characters, but other than that, there were no other action figures that came out.
Really? I thought they released something.
No.
Wow. Okay.
I think it was
I did some digging. I dug. I even looked on eBay. I looked everywhere, and nothing was released until 2003. And those figures from 2003 are going for like 150 to 200 a pop. It's insane.
Well,
and Ooh, and they did release some Funko Pop figures too. A couple years ago, I think, or maybe it was last year. But other than that, yeah.
He-Man also had the advantage of length. It had Christmas special, which is what we did. It had She-Ra.
Yeah.
The toys, blah, blah, blah. And then people would just bring up all of the ridiculous, wonderful He-Man stuff that we both kind of all love / make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
Thundarr was canceled because it was too violent. It actually had good ratings. They canceled it because it was too violent.
What I read was they canceled it because the network wanted to make room for Laverne and Shirley.
And that's what happened.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hassenbeff Incorporated.
But why did they choose Laverne and Shirley? Because it wasn't as violent. So I
want a violent Laverne and Shirley now.
I want a violent Laverne and Shirley.
Where they just
incorporated.
They're working in a beer company and they're just smashing bottles over each other's heads and shivving guys.
All right, so
you're not going to make it after all.
All right. So to officially start talking about this episode, I wish to share a bit of modern poetry.
Okay.
One of the things that I have most remembered over the years and I have loved so much, and I'm sure we will all recognize it. The moment I say, the year 1994. From out of space comes a runaway planet, hurtling between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. Man's civilization cast in ruin. 2,000 years later, Earth is reborn. A strange new world rises from the old, a world of savagery, super science, and sorcery. But one man bursts his bonds to fight for justice. And that's when a monster always groans in the opening and just kills me. I love that, dude. With his companions, Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel, he pits his strength, his courage, and his fabulous sun sword, not a lightsaber, against the forces of evil. He is Thundarr the Barbarian. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
I had to share.
Beautiful.
I had to share because honestly, it's one of the greatest opening sequences, in my opinion, of all time.
It is such a great intro, and one of the things I love about the intro, I mean, just the premise of the show in general, is that it takes place on Earth with real life Earth references. It's not like, oh, we're on Thundarr. Thundarr is the Thundercats' home world, right?
Thundarr.
Thundarr.
They see. No, that's the thing, is that's why Thundarr was great, because they had the cojones to not do that.
Right.
They were like, we could do something sweet like that.
No.
But instead, let's do something even awesomer and have them like literally riding through Florida and California,
New York,
and I think even Egypt and stuff like that. There was moments where they went to like other places. You're like,
oh wow,
they're on horseback. How did they get across the ocean? But
to be fair, in this episode, they hijacked the helicopter. So
it's true.
We'll get to the helicopter later. I got some things to say about the helicopter. I
got a lot to say about a lot of this.
So this episode we're going to go through the entire 2 seasons, every episode. Obviously, episode 1 is Secret of the Black Pearl, which I cannot get freaking Pirates of the Caribbean out of my head. Every time they say that, I'm like, Black Pearl. I'm like,
hey, buddy, that's African American Pearl to you, Buster.
Well, okay, let me write that.
All right, I'm going to acknowledge my shame.
Scratch that out and fill that. Okay, there we go. Okay. So yeah, Secret of the Black Pearl, the first episode. They just randomly run into this guy who's got this literal black pearl that has magic powers of some sort that they can't unlock.
Well, let's describe this even more. They run into an old man who's being attacked by giant rat men with clubs. And here is the beginning of why I like Thundarr so much. The whacked stuff that randomly happens in the show. And everyone is straight-faced the whole time.
Yes.
So there were giant rat men with clubs beating up an old man for his pearl.
Yes.
And then our main three characters step in and whoop the rat men, groundlings. They call them groundlings, but
groundlings,
the rat men like they were toddlers.
Just whipping them around, like literally whipping them around by their tail.
Literally. Like it's not even like a fair fight. That's what was so great about this. They stepped in and were like, beef! And then they just started whipping the crap out of these guys. I'm going like...
May I interject one of my noticings there with that? Did you notice, and I'm not sure if this is anything that's with that, but all of the rat creatures, aside from the Rat King, but all of the underling groundlings all had the white/beige gloves on, like a certain famous rodent that we know.
Was this?
I didn't notice
this a
that.
Disney reference? I'm not sure.
And they beat the crap out of them. I'm watching. It's just like, wait a minute.
I'm going like,
that's funny.
And they were all like, they all had the rounded folds, like
Really?
Yep. So I'm like, I'm kind of curious about that. I'm gonna note that and probably try and find out some more. But that was like one of the first things that popped out for me.
I'm not going to throw money on it, but I am super curious if you're right.
Beat up that mouse.
Take this, Walt!
I just love that they just Ookla's just like rah, rah.
Oh, and he swung him by the tail. I was like,
that's a sure. Like, I'm going, even as a kid, I'm going like, oh, that looks painful.
That was some good taste of some good action right there. They beat the crap out of them. They retreat. They talk to the old man. He's like, take my pearl to the humans. It's like, other humans, okay.
In the city of Manhattan.
That's Manhattan. I'm just like, I just keep thinking of a hat. I'm like, just a hat. Which is, of course, supposed to be Manhattan. Which apparently Ariel has a lot of knowledge of Earth history.
Yes.
And nobody else seems to for some reason.
As far as I can tell, it is because of the three. And I can't figure out why this works this way, because Thundarr and Ookla murder every sorcerer and wizard they run across. She's essentially a sorcerer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's because she's super hot or what's going on with that.
She's a good one.
No, but what I'm saying is, demon dogs. It's a sorcerer. I must punch him in the butt. And then Thundarr would just go rampaging off. But so she's a sorcerer, and because of that, or a wizard or sorceress or whatever, I think she's far more learned, because if you notice, there's some people that like don't even know how to make fire.
Yeah.
And then there's the wizards and sorcerers and mad scientists, and they're like really well educated. Like they really. So I'm kind of going like, I think she's a traitor. I think she's like that's why I'm like, that's why I like Princess Ariel, other than the fact that she's super hot. Is that I'm kind of going like, I think all the wizards and stuff hate her because she's like a traitor.
That could be.
Yeah,
and she's Princess Ariel too, and it's like, what is she the princess of?
Like ever since I was a little kid, I kept going like, where's the all over story? Like the intro kind of hints at the story.
Yeah,
like an all over arc that you never see, and then you get little stuff like that. We were going like, wait a minute. They bump into people that they've known before. Princess Ariel is a princess. They're like not telling us things. I'm going like,
yeah.
Come on, guys.
we're not getting like Adventure Time lore here, you know. It's like give me some more meat, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is I'm actually of the opinion, no, don't remove the action sequences, keep all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But they could have modified a couple of the stories to kind of give you a little bit more information. I would have loved that, but
yeah. Oh. I would have liked a little more because because it starts out so well. A comet comes through and just destroys the planet 2,000 years later, and it's like, well, like what's going on in the world, you know, like what happened to get to this point, you know, like what happened like directly after that happened, you know. There could be a lot more history to that. Again, referring to Adventure Time, which is, you know, kind of similar in a way. There's a big cataclysmic event which ended up creating what we see now as their world, but we also got a lot of, you know, story between then and now that connects the past and the future as well. So that's all right.
Yeah, I don't think they probably had enough time and or money to do so, unfortunately, because like
getting canceled, maybe they had stuff planned, but
well, I watched on the Blu-ray, they actually have a documentary called Lords of Light.
Ooh.
And it's half hour, 45 minutes. It's not super long, but they did go through stuff as to how they came up with the series, this and that. And one of their regrets is when they were dealing with the network, they finally convinced the network to take the show, which was an uphill climb because they were intentionally trying to make a slightly more mature action show for kids. So when the network accepted it, I can't remember if it was NBC or CBS, but anyways, CBS.
Yes.
But when they accepted it, they were like, okay, they gave them less money than they were hoping for, and they gave them a shorter time period to get it done. So they were like, we wanted to do it, so we just went for it. And that's why you have these moments where, and I love the show, but the quality drops pretty severely.
Oh.
And if you notice, there's a sometimes clever, sometimes not so clever use of stock footage.
Oh, okay.
You know, like as you watch, there will always be the dun dun dun, dun, and they're riding through the forest, and all three of them on their horses jump over something. It's
recycling
basically like
footage,
remodified animation.
Gotcha.
So my feeling is maybe they were going to get there. Maybe they had plans originally to do that, but then they've only got so much time, and they're like, let's just do butt whooping sequences. That's, you know.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
I think it's some good action sequences. I did think it was going back to the episode when they fight off the groundlings, and Princess Ariel goes to the old guy. Where did he go? And then they find him like hiding, and they're like, here, let me put you in a little healing bubble.
Yep.
And then they left. They left him right there. Where the bad guys were. I'm like, they could just walk out.
Is he gonna wake up with like a bear eating his shoulder? You know? I'm like, what are you doing?
I feel okay, but ow!
He's like covered in flesh-eating owls.
Flesh-eating owls. I love it. That's gotta be in like an episode somewhere.
Oh man, the stuff that happens in the series, that wouldn't surprise me.
See, I only watched the first episode. That's all I watched. I haven't watched.
We're going to make our best attempts to not say anything else. All I'm saying is the whole series is just moment after moment of nice work, guys. I didn't see that coming. Nice work. You know?
That's what I felt, because like even the goofy stuff that does happen later in the episode, it's taken so seriously. I still couldn't like guffaw at it like I could like something with He-Man. So
but I was always right. That's what I love. I kind of call it, and it's not exactly this, but the Quentin Tarantino humor where you're not sure if you're supposed to laugh or not.
Yeah.
This isn't exactly that, but you have the stuff where like, and we're about to talk about the next upcoming scene that contains stuff that I'm really. Let's talk about the next scene.
Yeah.
The next scene where Gemini the wizard sends his groundlings with their special weaponry to go kill Thundarr and bring back the Black Pearl, not the pirate ship.
Not the pirate ship.
Not the pirate ship. And what I love is, and this is why I love the series, because you'll get stuff that's sort of like Dungeons and Dragons from the 80s. Oh, they're fighting the rat people or whatever, and it's kind of wacky, but it's not super wacky. The next fight is where it goes way off the scale.
I freaking love it.
Okay. The rat people attack again. Now, not only with motorcycles. Not only with motorcycles. Rat men on motorcycles. But now they have wooden clubs that shoot laser beams.
That's the best part. So basically what we have is biker mice from Mars.
Yes.
I started singing the theme song.
Yes.
Biker mice from Mars.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, ooh, new special magic weapons or whatever. And all of a sudden it's just like, bring, bring. I'm like, it's biker mice from Mars.
I was like, let's rock and ride.
Well, here's the thing for me as a Fist of the North Star fan. In the first episode of Fist of the North Star, Kenshiro is attacked by a biker gang with guys with clubs. They don't shoot lasers, but I was just kind of going like, they're both kind of offshoots of Mad Max, right?
Yeah.
With Fist, it was martial arts movies and Mad Max, and with Thundarr, it was Conan the Barbarian mixed with Mad Max. And so I was just going like, rat men on motorcycles, and then I shivered. Goosebumps formed on my flesh as I started giggling. And wooden laser clubs! I love it.
Oh, so good. I just love the technology.
It was so messed up because they're riding through and we're just chuckling. And then the moment they just pointed at the club and started shooting it, I'm like, why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
Why not?
I was like, I want one. just I want one.
And my favorite move, as Ookla and Ariel travel down a magical bridge into the city of Manhat to get away. I actually like the shot. Now, it could have been illustrated better, but it doesn't matter. I like it. They're looking up the magical bridge at the cliff, and at the top you see the back of Thundarr just like, and he's just like and he's just like, nope. I'm gonna whoop some rat butt.
Could have gotten away, but no. I'm gonna stay and fight. He's like, there's only about 50 of them. And like how he just stands there, puts his arm out like WWE style, and they just drive into his arm, and then he grabs the Rat King and just like.
I was about to say that was my favorite move. It's the side shot. He just goes. Like this, you just see a rat go up and the motorcycle go flying. And I was like, I understand that anime and present day American animated action shows have gotten much better animation now. But God, that shot was fun. I just liked him reach out, grab, hey! I was like, yes, I love that. That was so good.
Oh, good. Oh, you can't beat that. I mean, there was no other way he could have done that. There just wasn't. Not possible.
And me being as much as I love cartoons, I'm the one that use that when I'm studying. I'm literally studying this stuff and like looking at the little inconsistencies or so. Most of the time, I'm just like, hey, I love it. But when they go down into the subway part, and they had never been in a subway, at least Thundarr and Ookla hadn't been in the subway before.
Right.
And they're looking around, and then Thundarr out of nowhere. These tunnels go on for miles. I'm like, how do you know that? You've never been down there before. What the heck?
It's Thundarr.
Have they been walking? Was there like a time jump at some point? Were they actually down there for like a few hours and we didn't know? Like, how would he know that?
Exactly.
He steps up. There's a poster of Jaws 9 and he looks around and he goes, this is going to go on for days. And you're just going like, and even Ariel, I know she didn't do it in the show, but it would have been great if she just went, what?
Maybe he's that good of a tracker.
I think you might actually be right, but how do you know that?
Maybe he's that good of a tracker. I have no idea.
All right.
He has supersonic hearing. When he talks, he can hear the echoes come back, and he can tell that it's a very long tunnel.
That's why he talks so loud all the time.
I can hear myself so I can get around my environment.
All right. Now, because what's great about Thundarr is there's always usually some level of escalation into even wackier stuff. The groundlings have failed, and the wizard Gemini is like, I can't depend upon my rat men anymore. And he looks around, and in an underground subway kind of wizard computer environment, he's surrounded by European knights. He's like, so I will send my greatest knights, blah blah blah. And they attack Thundarr with their laser clubs and stuff, and they're robots. In one episode, we got rat men with laser clubs on motorcycles, and we got robot European knights with laser weaponry coming out of
the subway.
A helicopter. It just a helicopter comes down and just knights come out of it, and I'm like,
that's right. That's where the
like
helicopter
my
came
birthday. It's like my birthday.
It's my birthday. I forgot that's how they got there. I just remember them coming out of the subway, but they got there on the helicopter, which I'm still just like, how is that still working? But I guess if you can create European robot knights, you can change some spark plugs in a helicopter.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. And what's with helicopters in these shows? You got the helicopter in He-Man. You got the helicopter. This just a helicopter here. It's like,
helicopter.
Make notes. Keep a tally.
Because of what I remember of the toy sales and stuff. Because it's easier to make a helicopter than a jet in a sci-fi era. Because helicopters are more, in a sense, more primitive than jets. Because of like with Da Vinci and his one helicopter
his hand lotion.
Oh yeah. The little spinny thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Stuff like that was considered high technology, and so you have helicopters based off of that technology.
Plus, it was the 80s. We thought helicopters were cool back then.
Yeah, we were coming off of MASH.
Darn right.
and Airwolf. I mean, these
Airwolf
were Airwolf, man. I mean,
Airwolf was after He-Man, or after Thundarr.
Yeah, that was probably right after Thundarr. Yeah.
Airwolf because of Thundarr.
There you go.
I'm gonna decide this is true.
That's your headcanon. There you go.
I was actually surprised that Thundarr was as late as it was, like 80 to 82. I actually thought it was earlier in the 70s. I was actually surprised to see when that came out. I don't know, because I was still getting like older Hanna-Barbera vibes, just because this show was produced by Ruby Spears, which is something Ruby and something Spears from Hanna-Barbera that then formed Ruby Spears to create this show. But I thought, for some reason, it was like a bit older.
Because funny, because when I grew up, because I watched it, it wasn't like one of my favorite shows that I would have to watch all the time, but I did catch it. I actually thought it was later. I actually thought it was like mid 80s, because that's around the time I was watching it, because I was catching the reruns of it and stuff. Or maybe I was watching it as I got old. Well, see, around that time period, I was still in my single digits, so I was watching little bits of it here and there. And then they would do replays of it later on and stuff. And I'd like watch it before, because it was on CBS. I'd watch it before Ninja Turtles would come on, or something like that. But yeah, I honestly thought it was actually like mid 80s. And then when I found out it was early, I was like, oh, there you go.
All right. So back to the
night. I was so early, but
one of the things that I liked about the Knights specifically, and this is going to sound silly, but I was rewatching it the last night to be like, no, I'm curious what they did here. They were whooping up on the Knights, right? And they think they're dudes in armor at this moment. And then one of their masks fly out with a robot face, and Thundarr goes, "They are machines!" And then they start slaughtering them. Then he's no longer whooping them. Now he's like jabbing the sword into them and ripping them apart. And I was kind of going like, actually, let's look at this for a second. This was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. They were holding back.
That's what I'm saying. They were actually going like, hey, these are bad guys, but they're still people. Try to knock the crap out of them or knock them out or whatever. And then they're like, oh, of their machines, and then they just start slaughtering them, and I'm going like, that's actually was kind of cool to me. I was like, they were holding back.
They're all machines except for the one guy at the end. oh no!
No!
Why?
I'm so sorry, P.T. the Knight. I thought you were a robot man.
Just
my wife, I love her.
And everyone's like, in all the future adventures, everyone goes, there's Thundarr, the guy that murdered Petey the Knight.
Murderer. Shame.
Thundarr, shame.
That's actually why he got kicked out of society.
Yeah. He didn't escape his bonds. They kicked him out.
They kicked him out for Petey side.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So they end up defeating the knights, but then Gemini ends up kidnapping Princess Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they have to save said princess. And what do? To the helicopter.
No, it's even better than that. This is
flying something bird. They call it a bird or something like that.
Yeah, they called it something like that. Yeah, and I'm just going, okay, firstly, this is in my head cocked. I did a little bit. Wait a minute. Okay, so you have Thundarr, which knows how to not operate a horse. That's about it. And
Yes.
Ukla the Mock that basically knows how to operate a rock.
Yes.
And then they go like, it's a wizard bird, or whatever they called it. I don't remember. And they run in. And what I love is, this is great. There's just Thundarr, and here's like the stick, and he just goes like, go! And then the helicopter goes up and flies off, and I'm just, the whole time Thundarr is just going like, like, oh! And meanwhile, the helicopter's flying real nice and stuff, and I'm just in my head going like, this doesn't make sense.
Also, with the horses being in there, also that made me.
Yeah, they loaded up the horses.
He's like, get the horses into the metal bird.
And he's like, what happens when you go left? And the helicopter gets the horses fall out.
Oh no! Oh well.
Fly, horses, fly.
By the way, those I'll bring this up again later, but those horses are very, very sturdy. And I'll tell you why later. I'll tell you why later.
They're beef horses, man. They're the studliest horses ever. I mean, Thundarr will jump off of a skyscraper and land on the back of his horse.
Exactly.
Just saying something about the horse and saying something about Thundarr's equipment. I'm like, every single time he did that, I was like, oh, jeez.
Taints in your
wow. He bruised some stuff. You're going to let Thundarr, no, Thundarr.
And that horse is just like, nah, whatever.
I'm made of beef.
Made of beef. We're all made of beef.
We're all made of beef.
So miraculously, he knows how to fly this helicopter, and they take off. And I'm blanking a little bit. They fly to his because it's
like his wizard tower.
Is it in? It's in Manhattan, isn't it?
Well, I think it's
in one of the skyscrapers.
I believe it's just outside in like sort of a swampy kind of foresty area, but I think it's nearby.
Okay.
Which side note, I'm serious. That when the opening sequence plus that scene also, the freaking like Legion of Doom headquarters is always on the side. They took the Doom headquarters.
Yeah, I thought that too. As soon as I saw that. I was just like, oh, it's the Legion of Doom.
Then comes one of my most favorite, like, Thundarr, no moments. And there's a lot of Thundarr, no moments. They magically know where the wizard tower is. I'm forgiving this because Thundarr is amazing.
Right.
Thundarr magically knows how to operate a helicopter. Again, I'm forgiving this because Thundarr is amazing.
Because Thundarr's
Then
Thundarr.
comes the moment where I'm like, Thundarr, no. Thundarr's going like, the stick makes it go. there's the wizard tower. And then I swear to God, the giant beast man next to me goes, I'm going to go kick their butts. Why don't you operate the helicopter? And I just go like, Thundarr, no.
Thundarr is one of those guys that feels like he can do it.
Anyone can do it.
He's one of those morons.
And then Thundarr leaps out of the helicopter, and Ookla goes and looks at the stick and goes, Poke. Like, he has no idea what the heck a helicopter is.
He probably doesn't know what Thundarr is saying half the time anyway. He's probably just hanging out with this guy like, okay, I get to beat stuff up. He tells him what to do. He's like, Hulk smash.
What's great is then they go, and this is actually why I love Princess Ariel, the Thundarr rescue sequence. Instead of doing
yes,
Thundarr, save me, I can't help myself. Princess Ariel just looks at him through the bars and goes, that took you long enough. And I'm like,
that was good.
And then she helps in her own escape. So she doesn't wait for the man to help her. She offers Thundarr sorceress support while he's rescuing her. And I'm going like, Ariel, you're more than just a hot booty.
And I love that it's just a padlock to like lock his face shield down and then stop his head from spinning around. By the way, if you haven't seen it, Gemini has two faces. He's got a okay face, and then he's got a face. And if you notice, I don't know if they just didn't animate it, but every once in a while when he's talking, because his two faces have different voices.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his mean voice, his other face is just like, hey. But even when he's
and the other have his, I will destroy you, Thundarr.
He'll have his mean face, but he'll be like, would you like some tea and crumpets?
Yeah.
But then go back to his mean voice, and it's just like they just.
Which, by the way, the evil voice, voiced by the guy who does Fred Flintstone.
Yes. Where's my note? That is. Did I close it? Oh, I closed that note thing already. I can't remember his name. But yeah, this Fred Flintstone took over the voice of the original Fred Flintstone.
Yes.
Which I thought was kind of cool, and he voices Ookla and a handful of other characters on the show as well. But I thought that was pretty good. That you got Fred Flintstone just going.
Actually, what I particularly loved about Gemini was the fact that the nice voice didn't always say cheesy things. Sometimes he said dangerous things like, if you don't get the black pearl from Thundarr, I will in fact murder your whole people. And he'll say stuff like that. And then the other one is just hyper aggressive and mean. But it's like hyper aggro, scary man and slightly effeminate psychopath. I don't care what the political correctness of any of that is. Gemini is one of my favorite villains.
He was really good because there was really no not a lot of cheese to him. He was played pretty straight.
Yeah. But yeah, Thundarr comes in and Gemini's being Gemini, and then the head flips over, Thundarr, I will kill you, and then Ariel goes zit, and then like his face cover goes over his face, and little Lot goes click, and Thundarr's like, oh, well, since basically Ariel did 80% of his own rescue, I guess I just need to open the door. And then Thundarr marches over, and they jump out the window, which was actually a pretty straightforward, quick rescue.
Well, they weren't going to jump out the window at first. They went to the window, and he's like, I have an escape plan. And she's like, oh boy. And there's Ookla in the helicopter waiting, and he's like, Ookla, bring the helicopter over here. And he's like trying to, and then he kicks the entire control panel steering thing and just crashes with the horses inside. I hope they did live, because then that's when they decide, okay, let's just jump out, like 50 stories down to land on this poor horse.
The fun never stops, does it? Thanks for the ride, my friend.
Now here's a moment that actually did not occur in the cartoon, but I wanted it to. I wanted the helicopter hovering, and Thundarr goes, Ookla is, operating the sorcerer bird, and have Ariel just go and look at him, and then it shows Ookla kicks the control panel out of the helicopter and just have Thundarr going like, and have Ariel just like doing that, and then it goes down, and Thundarr's like, now we will jump out of the building, and it's like,
was that all part of the plan?
Like, I just want Ariel to always be, because sometimes she actually had these moments where if you watch her, she kind of just goes like, like, or sort of almost look at the camera like, they're 12-year-olds. I don't know how to control them.
She would have said, Thundarr, no.
Thundarr, no.
Crash.
Ookla, no.
Ookla. Oh, Ookla.
You're the oopliest.
So they jump out and break this horse's back, which he just shakes off, and
beef horse.
Beef horse. They get to the humans, and old guy is there. I don't think he had a name unless they said something at the end there. But old guy who had the black pearl originally, and he's like, hey, where's the black pearl? It protects. And Thundarr's like, yeah, we know what it does. It protects people. Hope we can make some more. That'd be really awesome.
We forgot to say this. The black pearl protects people from sorcerer's magic. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a major plot point of the episode, is it protects people from... So Gemini can't actually, with all of his magic, attack somebody.
Right.
So normal humans with clubs potentially could just walk up to him and just beat the tar out of him. So I'm like...
Because during the rescue sequence with Princess Ariel, Gemini couldn't hurt Thundarr. Thundarr really couldn't do anything to Gemini, and then that's when Princess Ariel had to step in, because Thundarr had the black pearl at that point. So that was a little tidbit we kind of glossed over. Black pearl. And then the best. You want to go?
I just have to bring up, you can do it. I want to hear your perspective, but I have to bring up the note. Again, the episode escalates in weirdness, right? We started with rat men with clubs, then rat men with laser clubs on motorcycles, then robot knights in New York. Now, please continue.
Gemini shows back up. He must have found a lockpick or something with his magic, riding on a thunderstorm, I think, just in the air, like Lord Voldemort. Shows up, and in wonderful Ghostbusters 2 fashion, he decides to bring to life the Statue of Liberty.
And so begins the Thundarr the Barbarian versus the Statue of Liberty.
I just love he's swinging his sun sword at the foot, and he's like, it's made of metal.
and then comes my favorite Ookla maneuver. Ookla runs over to the wreckage, rips an I-beam out, walks up to the Statue of Liberty, doesn't bother hitting it, starts climbing slowly all the way to her head. Gets on top, and I just love, you just bink, 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 as you're just seeing this little tiny Ookla on top of the Statue of Liberty. Bink, 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 bink. And he's just like, and Ookla's going like, I'm kicking its butt.
I'm kicking its ass.
Nothing is happening to the Statue of Liberty.
Nothing. I love that the torch was on fire too.
It was like burning.
I honestly believe that the guys who did Ghostbusters 2, they saw that. I will put money on it that's where they got that from.
She did the whole like the flame ignites just like in Ghostbusters 2. I'm like, I'll go with it.
Go with it. there's this really cool part in Thundarr. Just do it.
And everyone's like, I based my career off the shticks in Thundarr. I just cleverly hid them. What did you write? Godfather. I knew Godfather was based off of Thundarr the Barbarian. I knew it. I got that line. I actually think Godfather was made before Thundarr, but whatever. I don't remember when that came out.
That's one movie I've never seen the Godfather movies.
Same here.
I have. Wow.
Same
Yeah,
here.
I'm actually making jokes about something I've never seen.
Yeah, I just no idea. But so they're pretty much useless against fighting the giant Statue of Liberty, which I thought was pretty great. Even Princess Ariel's magic was no match for the power of patriotism, and so I don't think Gemini does anything at this point. And then I think Thundarr
back and watches the Statue of Liberty whoop on them.
Yeah, he's just like, and I think Thundarr Thundarr goes back to the. I think they go back to the people, and then they talk about the power of the Black Pearl, and then that's when Thundarr has this jolt of inspiration that this is the only thing that can fight Gemini's power. So
Which
he just
actually works really well.
Yeah, just chuck it. He just threw it right at the Statue of Liberty and just blew everything up. Boom, done.
And then, it was supposed to take out sorcerers, and it took out the sorcerer and all his crud. So it did its job.
Well, it's a good thing Princess Ariel didn't touch it, because then we would not have a third character in our story.
Well, this is a bad day.
In the very first episode, we're introduced and de-introduced to Princess Ariel, R.I.P. Oh my God!
I do want to bring up one interesting point. And when I was a little kid, I didn't think about it, but now that I'm older, okay. Now I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just saying, in a lot of '80s cartoons, outside of like every character was basically a white guy or a white chick, right?
Yeah.
Princess Ariel isn't. I don't know if she's Middle Eastern or she's Hispanic or what she is, but she's dark with black hair, and they made her super hot and super smart. And they didn't make her the little prancing princess type. And she has times where she square out stands up to Thundarr, or she does the whole bit of it took you long enough, blah blah blah. And I gotta kind of say, okay, she was not your standard girly girl that the guy had to rescue. She could have done more on the show. I'm not saying that. She could have probably done more on the show, but she did a lot more than normal.
There's the point where Thundarr is fighting the biker mice from Mars.
Yep.
He's like, there's only 50 of them. Princess Ariel's actually trying to run up to help him.
Yeah.
Why won't he let me help him?
And Ookla's
holding her back, like, oh, he's just being protective, okay. But she could obviously take care of herself.
Yeah.
That's been shown. So it's like she definitely wants to, get me in there, not like, oh, Thundarr. No, she wanted to go kick some biker mice butt too.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is they made the female character atypical especially for the time period.
Oh yeah.
She still got kidnapped, unfortunately, but still.
And we did have a number of tough female chicks in the 80s, Tila and Lady J and Scarlet and stuff. But Ariel was the only one that wasn't a white character. So she was. So every single time I watch it, I kind of just go like, I don't want to do racial politics or whatever. I just kind of go like, she's kind of this interesting character that sort of, there's not many like her. And on a show that, fine, it may not be the greatest show ever made, regardless of how much I like it, but a lot of the characters were also written in a way that was sort of atypical for the time period, even if it wasn't super deep or super mature. I mean, clearly this was still a kid's show.
Yeah.
But I just particularly like the fact that I was given characters that were on a couple basic levels atypical, especially during that time period. And every single time I watch Ariel, she's almost my favorite character on the show. Mostly because I kind of feel like she's the mom dealing with two irate, violent 12-year-olds. You know, like I have a hard time not watching the show like that.
Yeah. You know, I could see that. Yeah, that's because I mean those guys because she's obviously way more knowledge than Thundarr is about the world.
And this isn't giving anything away for the rest of the series. That's one of her qualities as a character.
Yeah,
she's the smart one. Yeah, and which is really funny. And I don't get this. There's a lot of people that look at smart characters and go, "I'd rather be the guy that's dumb as a rock and punches really hard." I've always had a soft spot for smart characters, and as much as I love Thundarr, he's kind of a knucklehead.
Oh yeah.
You know, he every once in a while he's a little clever, and but most of the time he basically has a rock with a blonde wig sitting on top of it for a head. And Princess Ariel will go like, "Thundarr, that's not a good idea," and he goes like, and he just runs off and starts punching things.
What do you mean? There's only 50 of them on motorcycles with laser clubs.
And I won't, when we hit the episode, I'll point it out. But there's one episode where specifically they pointed out story-wise how not bright he is.
Good. I want to see that.
And the whole time Ariel's just a glowing brain. So I love Ariel. I've always thought she was a great character.
That's awesome. Yeah, we just got a taste of her character in this one, but just seeing like the again the rescue scene with her, helping with her own rescue, and hey, could have got here a little sooner, buddy. I
love
it's really good. It's so good, so good.
The bad guy with like locker room technology.
To me, she was like 3 seconds away from giving Gemini like a wedgie, like a wedgie on top of it. Like the lock would go click, and then she'd be like, "Whoop!" And then his tiny whiteys would be like, they'd be just dancing there by his whiteys.
That would have been great if she was doing that before Thundarr got there. He shows up, "I'm here to save you." What? And then he's just hanging in the air by his. Thundar's like, "Oh."
he's just sort of doing like that dance, like you don't know because you're balancing by parts you're not supposed to be. And Ariel's back there like, "Dance, you two-faced monkey, dance." If I let you go, will you release my underwear?
Will you release my privates, please?
They aren't meant to do that.
They weren't meant to do that. Release the Kraken, please.
So good.
Very good episode. Very, very good episode. Of course, we have a lot more to talk about. Next episode is going to be Harvest of Doom. I just love that. It sounds like an Invader Zim episode. I think it is an Invader Zim episode when I think about it. I think that is the title of an episode.
Okay, here's the thing, and I'm not taking anything away from new cartoons. Invader Zim, new cartoon. Invader Zim plus the newer stuff. Some of them were grabbing pulp titles like that, like, Harvest of Doom, but then the show would be kind of funny, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Thundarr was one of the last shows where they were doing that old pulp sci-fi barbarian thing. As a matter of fact, I think it was the last cartoon. And when they were doing those great pulp titles, like there was one, I think it was called Raiders of the Void or whatever. I mean, really, to me, some people will laugh, but I think they're cool titles. Really cool titles, but they're not doing it as a joke. They're legitimately going I'm fairly certain that these guys sparked up a doobie and put heavy metal on and started working on the show. That's what they always seemed like they were kind of stoned and crazy when they were coming up with the show. And it feels like heavy metal should be playing half the time. It's just and so they just go dude, Harvest of Doom, and everyone's like, yeah, woo!
They are good. I've got the episodes pulled up right here in the titles, and I'm just scrolling through. And season 2, this is great. Season 2, episode 18, Last Train to Doomsday.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is freaking awesome.
It's actually one of my favorite episodes, too.
Last Train to anything with Doom in the title is bound to be good. That's great. Last Train to Doomsday. Yes.
Plus, it has the perfect amount of cheese of I love the narrator's voice, and during like the commercial breaks up, and now back to Thundarr, the Barbarian. And I'm like, I get it. I get how some people would kind of roll their eyes and go, that's cheesy and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going like, I'm actually of this opinion that seems to be a little different than everyone else's. People either will use Thundarr, will take Thundarr too seriously, or they will just laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a third setting.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a third setting where you appreciate how actually really cool it really was, because I think it really was very cool.
Right.
But then also go, Ookla kicked the controls out of the helicopter, and you're just imagining Princess Ariel standing there going like, what is wrong with them? There's just like you can take it seriously and still kind of go like, yeah, it's awesome, and it's a well-aged cheese, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not saying that it's bad because it's cheesy.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I'm saying that that scene where the rat rode by on the motorcycle and Thundarr goes and just yanks him right. I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Awesome. He fights the Statue of Liberty with a monster man and a hot sorceress. Awesome.
In the first episode.
Great name. Wonderful narrator, all awesome. But I could see why people would be like, oh, yeah, this cheesy old stuff. But I'm like, but you got to admit, it's primo cheesy old stuff.
Yeah.
It is like, if I ever come up with something as good as Thundarr the Barbarian, I will die a happy man. Honestly, I think it's a wonderful show.
It's like I said, I don't even know if I've seen every episode. I know I watched it when it was on when I was younger. I remember specifically watching a little bit of it with my brother, who's a bit older, and we enjoyed watching it. Watching this first episode, I'm just like, okay, I'm definitely in for a ride. We're gonna go through every episode of the 2 seasons we got, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
And all I'm doing is I'm hoping on, firstly, the fans of Thundarr that aren't getting the love, hopefully they join us in on the fun.
Yes. And
secondly, and I mean this, we had a younger guy on the live sketch, and we were talking about the old shows and stuff. And he literally, and we, the names that were said, Thundarr the Barbarian, the Herculoids, Space Ghost, Birdman, we were all talking about that stuff because we were talking about doing this filming. And he literally said, I've never heard of any of those titles. Oh. He'd never even heard of Space Ghost, which there's been like more modern versions of. There's a 60s version, and then there's the version that Cartoon Network did when they did like the Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And he hadn't even heard of that. So there's younger people out there, and I'm not saying that these shows are for everybody.
Right.
I'm saying that if you've got an awesome show that a younger person might enjoy but they've never heard of, that is a crime.
Well, and to be fair with that kid, though, he was also from Sweden.
True.
Oh, okay.
True.
I don't know if Thundarr made the Swedish translation back then.
I don't think a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff or a lot of the Ruby Spear stuff from that time period made it across the pond, honestly.
Sure, but with the internet, now everything is kind of touching everything else. And now I'm kind of going like, so what if this kid from Sweden who's into cartoons and stuff now finds that Thundarr's like his 4th favorite show? Which is actually saying a lot if you think about how many shows we can all watch now. If you go like, well, dude, this one, and this one are great, but I ain't getting rid of Thundarr the Barbarian. Like I could probably other shows that I would go back to before Thundarr, but there's not many. And there's very few that's anywhere near as cool as Thundarr is. Like if somebody said, choose between He-Man and Thundarr, to me, I hate to tell you, and I like me some He-Man, but I hate to tell you, I'm going like, 100% of the time I'm going to go for Thundarr. Now, you gave me two choices. I would put He-Man on that list. But so when like they're making all these remakes, every single time they do another He-Man, I'm going like, this is great. Could somebody try Thundarr? like
please?
We were talking about it. Like, who would we want to see to redo Thundarr? And my choice is Genndy Tartakovsky. I would love to see his take on Thundarr.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's literally kind of like his thing in a sense. So I would love for him to get his hands on it somehow, but we're probably never going to see that. But
my choice was a completely irrational fantasy choice. Mine doesn't make sense because the studio isn't around anymore. I would like to see the guys that did Fist of the North Star in the 80s do Thundarr, because the only real difference outside of story and characters, they were functionally the same thing. But if you look at Fist of the North Star stuff, you're basically seeing Thundarr the Barbarian stuff. The only difference is Thundarr made it even crazier and wackier. And then with Fist, they made it really like bone grinding, skull crushing, blood squirting. And I'll be honest, I don't think they should take Thundarr too gory, but I could see Thundarr whooping some guy and some teeth go flying, I'd be like, I could see them upping the rating just a little bit and still staying Thundarr.
That would be pretty good. And now that you've mentioned like who you would like to see redo it,
who would you want?
And I was just thinking, you just had me racking my brain. So I've got two, and both of them have Lord of the Rings connections. My first pick would be, and just think about it for a second, Rankin Bass.
The moment you said a Lord of the Rings, ooh, because they might add some of that crazy rotoscoping in.
Well, that's Ralph Bakshi.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
That's Ralph Bakshi. That would be my second pick, because I think that rotoscoping would be
interesting,
perfect. But my first pick is definitely Rankin Bass, because if you look at The Hobbit and Return of the King, the way that they did the armor and the fighting and just the fire, just all the effects, that animation studio is just always been like, I've just always thought that's always been my favorite. And I think Rankin Bass, they're just blow it out of the water.
That is a great idea. Oh, by the way, keep an eye open for it, because one of the animation saving devices that they did use in Thundarr, and it's hard to spot sometimes, and sometimes it isn't. There is some rotoscoping in Thundarr.
Oh, okay.
Now, it's hard to spot sometimes, but they did do some rotoscoping, and they're like, He-Man, the rotoscoping is super easy to spot. Like, there's just some shots where you're like, oh, that's not even an animated running cycle. That's just some animator running.
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
And then you're like, and then they gave him big muscles, and so He-Man's running around like he's got ankle problems,
One of the rotoscoping clips is actually in the opening sequence. And when he jumps off the horse and tackles the guy, that's rotoscope.
That's why that tackle looks so actually possible. And a lot of the horse stuff, not all of it, but a lot of the horse stuff, I think, was rotoscoped.
Define horse stuff for me, please. I kid.
Maybe there's an alternate version of the show.
Hey, I'll do moose stuff for you. What's moose stuff? Anything you want. I can go over there and eat some grass, or I could come home and watch Pinocchio in bed with you. Whatever you want, buddy.
$20 is $20, man. Hey.
$20 Princess Ariel. $20 is $20. Thundarr, no.
But bringing it back to the Rankin Bass thing, when you were saying it, I was thinking about it.
That's a good idea.
Then I just had the goofy thought of the Rankin Bass, the stop motion Rankin Bass.
Oh, yes. I want. I forget what it's actually called. It's not called claymation. it's called something else. But they're stop motion. Oh, that would be great to see. Yeah, let's just let Robot Chicken do a whole Thundarr series.
Oh man,
go for it, guys.
Yeah, because again, I'm blanking on the name of the guy who actually was their main character designer for both their 2D and 3D stuff. He was actually a like cartoonist and a illustrator that doesn't really get much credit because he did all this stuff like pre that time and then just got hired on, and he was just like one of their main character designers, which is why everything looked the way they did, and because that was his style. But man, I would love to see Thundarr in that cutesy Rankin Bass 3D style.
Yeah, because when you look at their models from their stop motion and you look at their 2D animation, like the characters, I mean, I mean, they're the same. I mean, I love that they use a lot of the same voice actors too, like Paul Frees and well, anyway, yeah, I usually have their names on top of my head, but not at this point. Whenever I try to recall something, I can't. But when I'm just sitting there, watching TV, I'm like, I really like Paul Frees' voice in the Rankin Bass cartoons. But when I want to think about it later, I can't remember. So yeah, like I said, next episode is going to be, what did I say it was? Next episode is going to be Harvest of Doom. And I'm not going to read the synopsis because I want everybody to be surprised who hasn't watched it. Like me.
This is actually what I really like about this is because I fall asleep to cartoons. That's how I wind down at night. So I got these Blu-rays and DVDs of all these kinds of shows and stuff. So I know this stuff pretty well. And Laschita knows it because sometimes she sits down and watches it with me, and sometimes she's doing her artwork but you haven't seen it in a while.
No, it's been a long time. About this. So it's like I'm watching it with fresh eyes, really. I mean, I can recall characters and action sequences and magical items at some point, but yeah, I'm pretty much watching this with fresh eyes with you guys.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, guys, we're gonna sign off. You guys want to plug anything, or if you got something else you want to say?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay, and it's not a spectacular website, but we finally did get a functional website up, supersecretprojectx.com. Split into two parts, Laschita's part, my part. If you want to check out the stuff that we're doing, all the links are there. We have a newsletter if you want to keep up to what we're up to. I do a weekly live sketch of cartoon characters every week, every Sunday at 5 p.m.
Central Time.
Mm-hmm. And eventually we will have more products and stuff out, but we're just doing the slow build right now. So blah, blah, blah.
Awesome.
.com.
Yeah, links to Aric and Laschita and Super Secret Project X will be down in the description of this video for your convenience.
and honestly, I would love to. This is going to be up on YouTube, right?
Yes.
I would just on the obvious comment stuff. I would love to hear from other fans as to what they thought. Now, specifically, here's the funny thing. I want to hear from younger people who've never watched this before that ran across this and went,
yeah,
the fuck is this? And then went, I'm going to go watch this whacked cartoon. And I would love to hear their point of view on it, because what does the new generation's eyes looking at Thundarr the Barbarian see? I'm very curious.
Absolutely. Yes. If you're watching this and you haven't seen Thundarr, I highly suggest go watch the first episode. I think WCO.net or WCO.com. Watch Cartoons Online for free website. You can go there and you can pretty much watch anything you want there for free, which is pretty cool. That's where I watched it. But I do suggest if you have the cash, pick up the Blu-ray. It's got some good stuff on there.
There's also a DVD available of it. I think the DVD is even cheaper than the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Is it Warner? It's from the Warner Brothers collection, I think.
Yes.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. They have a ton of stuff like Johnny Quest and blah blah blah. But honestly, I think you can pick up the Blu-ray for the DVD for like $25 and the Blu-ray for like.
No, it's cheaper than that.
No, DVD for about 15 or so, and Blu-ray for 25, 26, something like that.
Blu-ray is around about $20, $25. DVD's even cheaper now because it's older and
and they're both good. I had the DVD for a long time. It's a good copy. It's just
if you really got money burning in your pocket, you should pick up the Laserdisc CEDs or VHS tapes. No, just kidding. That's what I would be doing.
You should become a giant AV nerd and pick up a Blu-ray player, a Laserdisc player,
as we
a
look,
VCR.
As we look at the stack of laser discs we have down in the corner there.
I got Thundarr on 8-track.
I got this little carousel thing that moves around. You put a little candle inside and look through a little slit, and it shows a little action sequence.
I've got the zoetrope of Thundarr.
I've got it on Viewmaster, baby.
Just spin the zoetrope, and there's Thundarr in the zoetrope just kicking a rat guy in the butt over and over.
Oh, it's Oogla kicking the controls of the helicopter.
This is amazing.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. Well, I think we've been holding everybody hostage long enough.
Yeah.
Aric, Laschita, thank you guys so much. You guys know I'm Jay, Retro Pop Gaming. It's all good, and like I said, we'll try to be getting another episode out within the next month. I think we talked about.
Yeah, we're gonna try, I think, for 1 month, and then see how everything goes. This is a learning experience for all of us on this one. So
yeah, we'll see how long if I can get a good template together for format to get this uploaded, and then maybe we can do 2 a month. Or we'll see. Again, like I said, this is
one though is manageable, which is pretty good.
Yeah, because life finds a way.
We're not spry 30-year-olds anymore.
Not living in our mom's basements, not doing anything else. The good old days. I wish I had this technology when I was younger. Oh my God. Oh my God. I keep thinking about that. Like, if only I had.
We all literally missed out on what we needed by about 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Because right now, and I'm graying and stuff, and I'm trying to keep up with all of this, but I tell you what, this is literally the stuff I was hoping for forever, but now that it's here, it's hard to catch up with everything, really understand how to make all of this really work and get a fandom and stuff.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, I never even imagined doing anything like this. But I do recall when I was playing like Final Fantasy II, for some weird reason, I had a little tape recorder. I would record just the audio of myself playing this game. You can hear me like swearing at this one monster, like, damn it, frick. I wish I still had the tapes. Maybe they're in the attic somewhere. I don't know. At my mom's, I'm not sure. I wish I still had them. I'm sure she threw them away. But it's just like hours of me just trying to fight this boss, and for some reason I just decided to record the audio of me.
That's awesome.
Pitching a fit, not being able to kill this thing. It's nuts.
There needs to be a techno remix of that.
That would be great. If I ever find it, yeah, that's definitely happening.
Stupid monster! Monster!
Yeah, friggin'! You hear the controller smashing on the floor.
I want more Fig Newtons, Mom!
Mom! Bathroom! Mom!
I spilled my mellow yellow!
That happens to be what's in my coffee, actually.
Nice. Attaboy.
Fabulous.
And with that, have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, have a good one, everyone.